ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Bandai Robot Spirit Side Jayker series Pacific Rim the Black Atlas Destroyer. Atlas Destroyer is a junked PPDC training Jayker left abandoned in the desolate and kaiju-ravaged area of Australia, now known as the Black. Brought back to life and piloted by two untested and orphaned siblings named Taylor and Haley, Atlas Destroyer becomes the ultimate wasteland warrior. Armed with a devastating saber chain that can rip the limbs off of Kaiju, the mighty Atlas Destroyer is their only hope to survive the dangerous trek to find their missing parents and escape from the Dark Continent. I read that entirely from the back of the box. It's all here if you want to read it yourself. Fret not, we won't be delving too far deep into what is featured on the box and all that other stuff, but the box is nice. I really do love that it is outfitted in all those beautiful Pacific Rim blues that we all love so very much, the blood of the Kaiju. Very simple, very basic, very appealing to the eye. This gave me a good laugh at first. And I love that it gives you a lengthy read-up on Atlas Destroyer on the back just in case you decided to skip out on Pacific Rim the Black. Which you totally shouldn't do because, personally, I think Pacific Rim the Black is the series' savior, especially after the likes of Pacific Rim Uprising, which I genuinely dislike very, very much. But anyway, on to the figure. My god, there is so much ground to cover on this figure, it is almost terrifying. First up, love the translucent plastic for the visor. Love that the chest is decorated in a very ornate burb with star. The paint does get a little messy over here in some areas, but in all honesty, did you even notice that smidge of yellow until I pointed it out? I really should make mention that not everything you see here is painted on this figure. These stripes, yeah, totally painted. This yellow, yeah, totally painted. This yellow, no, that's yellow molded plastic. And I think you can actually tell which of the yellows on this figure are the plastic and are the paint. And that's one minute little complaint that I have, is just that the plastic and the paint really don't match up. But then again, it did take me a couple of tries in making this video to really, see that they were two different yellows. So, absolutely, positively love the detail on the chest with the lights and the little bolts and everything that are all scattered about on this thing. Love that the highlights of the abs are all done up in yellow. Very, very nice. Oh god, I forgot about its neck. Look at that detail. Beautiful. Something that I absolutely love about this figure is that the joints in the hips and waist leading to the thighs over here are all detailed up to look like, mechanical parts and everything. Look at that. That's really, really nice. Really wasn't expecting something like that to show up here. But then again, this is my very first Robot Spirits figure. There was a lot I wasn't expecting on this thing. Like this, I totally wasn't expecting any major details on the inside of the thigh, let alone on the inside of the foot over here. Truly left me rather flabbergasted. And in speaking of detail, I really do love that the gray portions of the figure are all detailed to look like mechanical pieces and such, because this thing really would have looked super duper bland had it not had any of that. And here I feel is where it is most noticeable, where the yellow plastic begins and the yellow paint ends. You see what I mean? That, and you can definitely tell this is just a blue piece painted yellow simply by looking over here and by looking over here. Again, it took me quite a while to fully notice all these little blunders, but again, they really don't bother me because from far away, not only do I not see them, I just don't care. Bit of an articulation spoiler here, but look at all that lovely detail in the gray. Oh my god, that's awesome. And speaking of detail, the fist! It actually looks like a fist and not a crushed blueberry. You can actually tell where the knuckles are. You can tell pretty much everything here. Wow! Good job, Bandai. And we do have a little bit of yellow paint on the knuckles. The yellow on this fist doesn't look too bad. A little weak on this side, not so much on this side. This yellow appears to be a little bit more finished, and it's a little less messy in some areas. It's still going to show some, ooh, wow, yeah. There still is some mess on these things, but yet again, I really don't mind. I don't notice from very far away that, that there's like mess or anything around these. And despite one yellow looking a little bit more finished than the other, I really can't tell the difference from this angle either. Oh man, look at all the beautiful detail on the side of the torso over here. I'm honestly glad that this isn't painted. I feel this works really well with just the solid silver. Just look at the back of the calves over here. Look at all of that beautiful brimming and brewing detail in there, man. That is just some very beautiful looking stuff. Very Gunpla looking. In fact, this figure really does have that Gunpla feel to it. It's probably because of the plastic that it's made out of. But anyway, tilting the figure forward a little bit more, you can see some hidden fine detail on the backs of the sneakers over here. Not to forget that there's some beautiful detail on the bottom of the sneakers over here. Looking up a little bit further, you can see that there are lots and lots of details on the bottoms of the thighs over here. Not too much is going on with the butt of this figure aside from the trademark tramp stamp. No, where the back of this figure really does shine is directly on the back. Look at all this amazing detail. Look at everything that is stored on the back over here. Amazing. For $5, Bandai won't paint the back of their figures, but for $40+ they'll not only paint them, but they'll detail them to all heck. Look at this. I imagine that's a thruster, but I could be wrong, but I don't care because it looks great. I imagine those are pistons of some kind, but I don't know, but it looks great. Panel detailing is beautiful. The yellow paint is a bit messy, but at least we have epic burb. I really gotta give credit to the back of the head as well. Wasn't expecting these to be painted, and I wasn't expecting to see all of this detail on the back of the head. Jeez. Yeah, that's quite the back to be proud of, I must say. Dear God, how could I forget there's even detail on the shoulder pads, I guess we can call these? Both on the side over here and on the top. Truly, this lovely gal is just brimming with detail, but wouldn't you know it, there's more to look at. First of which being the open hands, the alternate hands, and they really are beautifully detailed. When looking at the fingers, you can just see pretty much everything that goes into making a Jayker. It's really, really nice. Although the yellow paint on this one is kinda spotty in some areas. The other hand is a bit on the cleaner side, but they're two different shades of yellow. In fact, I don't think they're different shades of yellow. I just think this hand got more paint than this one did. That's a bit on the weird side if you ask me. But oh well. Here we have the Saber Chain itself, and do be careful, these are very sharp. Taking a look at the tip over here, it's got some very basic detail, but it's welcomed very basic detail. And for the most part, the rest of the Saber Chain over here is going to be fitted with the exact same detail front and back. Don't believe me? Front and back. Same amount of detail, not much else. Can't have a Saber Chain without a Saber Chain Arm, and oh boy, look at all this detail. The fact that they put so much attention to detail into a part of the arm that is mostly going to go unseen to the average eye is just so lovely. I especially love all the panel detailing that's going on the top of this arm as well. Just look at that. Gonna have some amazing detail on the bicep and forearm area over here. Just look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then we're gonna have some more panel detail. We're gonna have some wiring detail over here. And then we get to the tip of the hand, and oh boy, just look at that. That is what I like to call the Saber Chain plug, because it is just essentially a plug. It's the top of the Saber Chain, as you can see. They both have around the same detail at the tip of them over there. That's when it's all nice and loaded in there. But even more impressive would be these claw-like fingers over here, all of which are outfitted in amazing detail. Ah, this thing does not need paint whatsoever. It is just perfect. Actually, I don't think there's a single thing on this arm over here that is painted. I think it's all just colored plastic. Yeah, good stuff. All right, so you might be asking, how easy or how hard is it to take off the hands? Well, just bleep, just like so, and then a just like so. Do be careful with the open hands though. You don't want to bend them forward. You want to bend them back, and you want to bend them side to side. Bending them forward will cause them to come off the joint like so, because the way that they were molded at a bit of an angle, as you can see here. So pushing down on that will cause them to pop off rather easily. Other than that though, they move perfectly fine. And yes, I know, articulation spoilers. Alrighty, and now for applying the Saber Chain Arm. All you gotta do, well, this is what I do. I take the arm pad off first because it is indeed removable. Then I stretch the arm out like this, and I bend out like so. And then I take the Saber Chain Arm. I make sure the ball joint is up in the air like so. And then I just, yeah. You have your Saber Chain Arm connected to your Atlas Destroyer. Simple as pie. Now what about this goofy looking spiky pepperoni piece in here? Fret not, all you gotta do is just kinda pull it. I find it a lot easier to at least take off the bottom two fingers over here, and through the power of just trying really, really hard despite having no fingernails, which is my own fault, the plug will eventually come out. But you gotta be careful because as you can see, I've already semi-marked it up just trying to get it out there. Yeah, I do wish this material was a little bit stronger, but what can you do? So after you get the spiky pepperoni piece out from the center of the hand, you can just put the fingers back on like so. And from there, you just match the two shapes up together. As you can see, there's going to be a bit of a notch over here, and then there's going to be a bit of a notch over here. You put 2 and 2 together, and whammo, there you go. You have your Saber Chain. I really do love everything that this figure is doing, and I'm going to take this out because it's making me nervous. Even with all of the little flaws that are on here, you know, where the paint's a little bit weak, or when obviously one of the hands hadn't been hit with more than enough yellow, I feel it's easy to overlook that because the majority of the figure looks so damn good. The details are fantastic. The paint is just fine. I love that there's a little bit of a hybrid going on here, both with painted colors and molded plastic colors. Honestly, I really would have preferred if all of this was just molded plastic coloring. Anyway, paint's going to get a solid star from me, and detail's going to get a solid star from me. Now, let's take a look at articulation. Up first is the head, and the head is on a ball joint, so it can make its way all the way around. The neck can move forward and back like so, but it can also move left to right as well. I thought this was a hinge, but it turns out it's a ball joint. Speaking of ball joints, the arm can go up about this far, and as you could see, the arm pad up here was moving along with the arm, and I can explain why. So this is the part that attaches to the barbell joint, and it will essentially move because it is on a ball joint, as you can see, and it will move as the arm moves. So it'll go up, it'll go down, it might pop off every now and then, but like I showed earlier, it's easy to put back on, and I really do like this little mechanism, I guess you could call it. It's very thoughtful of Bandai to think of that. But that's not the only thing you could do with the shoulder blade. There will also be a swivel over here as well. Wowzers! There will be a double bend at the elbow as well. Just look at that. It almost looks uncomfortable. And as shown earlier, there will be a ball joint at the wrist, so the hands can kind of just about go anywhere, except for the open hands. They can't go forward too much because they will pop off. Getting the fist on there, look at that wider range of movement. Just beautiful. One other thing to mention about this arm, so I don't have to mention it again. Yeah. The socket over here can indeed turn with the arm. This one you have to be a little bit more rough with, but for the most part, I don't see why you would need to do that. I just wanted to mention it. Now it is time for the Saber Chain Arm. So let's take a look up here first. You see that one part? Yes, it will move into the shoulder pad over here as you lift the arm up. And it will come back down, or back out, I should say, the more you move the arm inwards. Other than all that, we've got a swivel at the bicep. We've got a double bend at the elbow over here, which is really, really nice because it does offer different posing options. We've got a double bend at the elbow. Here is one, and there is the other. And it only bends back so far too, so you're not going to be going crazy with it. For the most part, I just utilize this. And as you likely saw earlier, all the fingers are on ball joints over here. It doesn't give them the widest range of movement, but it gives you exactly what you would need for something like this. Oh yes, and the top part spins, as you can see. It spins very, very nicely. Not too loose, not too tight. I feel comfortable moving it, and you can too. Oh, and just because I wanted to make this clear, since the Saber Chain Arm does in fact have a swivel at the bicep, you could put it on the opposite side of the figure if you really wanted to. Yeah, it's definitely not the most gracious inclusion, but it's cool that you're able to do that instead of it being exclusive to just one side. Alright, moving on to the rest of the figure. We've got a decent lean back at the top of the torso and a decent lean back at the other part of the torso. Here it is from a side view. Back and forward. More so back than forward. Alrighty, when talking about the legs can kick up about this far and then continue to go all the way around. Yep. And there's even a ball joint in the thigh over here that will allow the legs to kind of move outwards like so. Probably to help with articulation and posability. There will be a mighty fine double bend at the knee, really tucking that leg in there, looking gracious. And of course, it's the exact same story on both sides over here. Looking like Atlas Destroyer is about to give us the most epic cannonball ever. And then when looking at the ankle, we've got a barbell joint in there. So the feet can not only go all the way around, but they can also give you one heck of a pivot down there in pretty much every single direction. Very, very nice. When it comes to the posability of Atlas Destroyer, you can do so much with this figure, and to ask for more would simply just be unnecessary. I'm especially impressed with this figure's lack of needing a stand to be posed in certain ways. The lightweight build only helps it there. The grade A tier articulation has led to many hours of me just finicking around with this gal and never being satisfied because of the capabilities it has. Once this review is done, I'm likely just going to spend a few hours just trying to decide on a pose she should have as I display her alongside her Pacific Rim family. And I think what makes this even better is the fact that she absolutely is compatible with Tamashii Nation stands, because of course she is. This will aid in getting some aerial poses, and it aided me in getting all of the promo poses pretty down pat. Not 100% because I'm an idiot, but it did help. It really did. And I'm thinking of actually just using this stand with Atlas Destroyer, because, I mean, it is kind of on the broken side, and my big chap figure is never going to be able to use this thing ever again, so there's that. But no, I really am impressed with this thing's posability and how much it is able to pull off, especially for its asking price and even with its build quality as well. Yes, I love this thing, but the plastic does feel a little bit on the brittle side, and that does scare the crap out of me. Speaking of which, upon getting this figure out of the box for the first time, I was enjoying myself, of course, but the legs, especially in these general areas over here, attaching to the waist and attaching to the thigh, they were making some really creaky noises. Really creaky noises. So I implemented the strategy that Steven's Toy Reviews suggested, which was simply putting some dish soap on a toothpick and then just letting it seep into the joints over there to loosen it up a bit. And as you can hear now, there ain't no creaking. No creaking at all. Also, one of the downsides of this being mostly made out of plastic is just the little scratches and stretch marks you're going to be getting on the inside of the thighs over here. Actually, it's not even just over here. It's over here as well. And you can see it's kind of taking the gray paint off over here. But you know what? This is my very first Robot Spirits figure, and I was really messing about with this. So I'm going to put all of that on me. That's entirely my fault. Scratches, stress marks, some weird paint here or there. Despite all of that, I love this figure so much, and I'm going to give articulation / posability a solid star. This figure is absolutely and without a doubt 3 solid star worthy. I love the way she looks. I love the way it articulates. I like the way the paint and the molded plastic looks. It really is all about what you're into. Me, stuff like that really doesn't bother me. And I'm honestly going to be having fun with this thing until the next one comes out. Or if no other ones come out from Pacific Rim the Black, I'm just going to be having fun with this one for the rest of my life, because those Pacific Rim Uprising figures are way too expensive. But anyway, there's going to be a bunch of links in the description and the comment section down below. And I know I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but with everything here, would you be surprised to hear that this is pretty much 40 bucks? You might be spending $44 when it comes to certain stores, but between Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, and all the other ones I have linked down below, they range from 38 to 44. Maybe even 45 if I remember correctly. This is totally worth that asking price, and I would absolutely buy another one of these before I get another SH Monster Arts figure. That's for dang sure. Anyway, that's about going to wrap it up for this review, everybody. I do so hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video. If you really liked it, you should comment down below and tell me how much you liked it and why and other stuff like that. And if you hated it and think that I overly focused on the paint too much, which I really tried not to do, you can dislike the video and tell me, hey, you need to vary things up a little bit. It's getting a little bit crazy. Seriously, any and all constructive criticism is welcome. Patrons, thank you so much for becoming ShinRobjira patrons, and thank you to my latest patron / re-patron, Corey. Thank you so much for becoming a patron again, fam. If you want to become a patron or just browse my social media pages, you can do so by following any of the links in the description below. And you should also check out my merch page at Redbubble. I made it super duper cheap. Yeah, I really don't make too much off of it, but I want my merch to be affordable for people. But anyway, yeah, that's about going to wrap it up. I've shilled all I've had to shill. You should totally pick up your very own copy of Atlas Destroyer and watch Pacific Rim the Black. See you next time with whatever the heck I'm talking about. I think it's more Ultraman stuff. I don't know. You lot probably know more than I do at this point. A lovely morning, afternoon, and night to you all, friends and neighbors. Peace.